the dark maze. Dark codes in the nighttime. Information aligned. We're free in the spotlight. Chatting through the late night. Smart contracts are lying. Are eating, they defying. Counter-serve you in my ear. Security we engineer. Learn the truth, don't disappear. Counter-serve you, we're right here. Crypto dreams and data streams. Listen close, it's closer than it seems. Fix the flaws, see through the smog. Counter-serve will join the blog.
Hello, and welcome to the Counter Surveil podcast. I am your host here with Sledge as well. Whoa, that's playing over here as well. Here with Mike Rowe, Altkey, Stacy, and also Crouch Drunk. Blue Knight as well. Blue Knight is broadcasting out of Delchi's old apartment tonight with a nice view of the Las Vegas skyline. So it's in a very hard thing to talk about, but for those of you who don't know, who are watching, a member of our cast, a close friend of mine, friend of many in the hacker community, Delchi, he passed away a couple of weeks back.
Almost a month ago.
Yeah.
It's been a month.
About a month.
It's been a month.
It's been very hard on all of us, and we're doing our best to push through and honor his memory to the best of our ability here. We have some people here who know Delchi and want to share some memories and stories of him, and I think he would like that. You know, he was quite the guy. He had one of the best personalities I know. The guy was hilarious, and he really got taken too soon. I'm going to miss him so much. Guys, who wants to say something besides me here?
He was always a good guy to turn to if you needed somebody to give you a good shit talking.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Oh, he was absolutely amazing at that.
I felt bad for telemarketers. He called his house, man. He would he'd rip into them something fierce. One time he actually had a guy on the line who was trying to sell somebody a roof on a residential house, even though Delchi lived in an apartment. Mm-hmm. And he literally had this guy on the phone for like 45 minutes, and he just kept trolling him over and over again. It was hilarious. Ripping right into him.
Yeah, well, he'd rip into anyone about damn near anything, quite honestly.
But that's not he loved you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fight with you. Like, man, he was extremely opinionated, but always good dude. He could get a little heated sometimes, but man, he was never not a good dude. He was an excellent.
He's always there for you, man. Like, whenever I'd be in Vegas, if I needed a place to stay, I could crash at his place. You know, at a moment's notice.
That's what these skid marks on the floor are. Okay, thanks. I was wondering.
I never knew him on like a super personal level, but he was always there at DEF CON every year. I'd always see him, and I always see even Frank before we even knew each other. It's like he'd always be there, and I'd always recognize who he was, and we'd say what's up and whatever every year. And you know me, I reintroduce myself because I never remember who I meet the next year from the previous year, so I always reintroduce myself to him. He'd be like, "You know me, you fucking dick."
and like, before Blue Knight took over HDA, me and Delchi used to do HDA at DEF CON there, and some years were better than others, but it was definitely always an experience.
We would talk endlessly about projects and ideas, just shooting the shit and seeing what stuck. We had so many project ideas and so many just absolutely crackhead energy schemes.
He and I
miss that.
He and I.
How many came to fruition?
Literally none.
We're gonna fix that.
We're going to fix that. I have to do it now.
This apartment is the boulevard of half-built the various projects here. I literally have, those chrome steel baker's racks that they have in restaurants and bakeries?
I have like 30 of those.
Yes, well, I literally have entire racks full of bins of projects and parts and everything else that I'm going through and sorting. And honestly, most of them are going to end up. Yeah, well, he labeled them all pretty well, but at least as of late, it seems like they were getting somewhat disorganized. I've been resorting stuff on the fly. But a lot of this is probably going to end up getting subsumed into my collection and my projects. And my intention, just like with HDA here, is I want to carry the banner forward. Especially with HDA, there were a lot of people saying, hey, what's going to happen with this? This is something that needs to go on. And maybe I'm taking on too much too fast here, but it really seemed to me to be a matter of, if not me, who? My first time actually working with HDA was at DEF CON this year, and Delchi pulled me in so fast here that I effectively became his number 2 on site. Ended up talking about 3 or 4 people out of various states of mental health crises. I'm suspecting that at least 1 or 2 of those people are actually listening to the cast here when it comes out. And my love to those people. And it just seemed like this is something important to Delchi. I can't let it fall through the cracks. So honestly, even before he was cold, it seems like I'm like, okay, if no one else is going to pick up this flag, I will pick up and run with it. And it seems like I've been acknowledged as the ad hoc leader for the organization here, at least until I'm dead or someone better than me comes along.
Voluntold, but in the meantime, you've got a team of people rallying behind you to help with whatever you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be amazing. We have a new Discord that we spun up right at the end of con this year. Delchi was going to put in his personal one, but I'm like, no, let's keep the business and pleasure separate here. I'll make certain that gets to you guys so it can get into the show notes and people can link on to it. But we're doing that as soon as I'm done with packing up stuff and I'm out of Vegas, so probably not until after the holiday, we'll hit the ground running and start running forward with that. I've got some of his typed up notes and some of the stuff from the HDA packs that he's done in years previous, and where it's going to go from here, I honestly don't know. But it's as probably one of the least disabled hackers that people know, while still falling technically inside those margins, I still feel like it's important to carry the flag forward, and I want to do that to honor his memory.
I'm happy you are, man. I volunteered there for a couple of years. We faced quite a few challenges throughout the years. But
challenges at DEF CON? Say it isn't so.
Yeah, dude. One year, it was the most recent one I was at because I wasn't there this past year. The year before that, we had one of the hotels sent a bunch of people in scooters over to DEF CON, but then refused to pick them up, pretty much stranding a bunch of people in their scooters and wheelchairs at DEF CON. And a bunch of them were from that hotel, and they would essentially told by the company that they were never supposed to leave that hotel in the first place in those scooters, so they were refusing to come and get them. It was a shit show. We actually had a guy, one of the goons, come by and start just giving out $100 bills out of his own pocket to people to get back to their hotel, and it was crazy.
Let's go back to Knight for a second. Tell us your plans for HDA that you were mentioning before we went live. The memorial thing.
Okay, so everyone is asking right now what's going to be happening with a memorial or funeral for Delchi. Delchi was a member, as many of us know, of many different tribes, and not only just here in the hacker and infosec community, but he was a very well-known and respected DJ in the New York City goth scene. He had tentacles everywhere, quite honestly. So there's going to be multiple events and memorials for him. I can't speak to all of those, although I want to attend as many as I can. I know that the Dorsai.org crew already had a wake for him at a bar in New York City. This is kind of a private friends and family only affair that happened earlier this week. I have heard rumblings, but nothing specific regarding the New York City goth scene. The hacker community, that's going to be a very big question mark, because I know that Delchi and I originally met through 2600, and he was active in Hope for many years. I know he was active in DEF CON for many years.
And
the only thing CDC and Ninja Strike Force, and that's also an open question I've got open people to. But what my current plan is right now, and I know there will probably end up being stuff before then that we'll do our best to announce, is that at DEF CON next year, at DEF CON 34 at the HDA Village, I'm planning to take one of the evenings. There's been some discussion about not doing stuff too loud and trying to push HDA, but there's a lot of people who want to remember Delchi. So like he was pushing some of his own interests and events during the evenings this year and in years previous. I'm going to push an event either Friday or Saturday evening, maybe Thursday. We'll see what happens. Specifically for Delchi, for friends and family to come and celebrate this amazing, amazing person that we've lost in the community. And too many of us, and it seems to be accelerating. Like I observed before we started the show here, this is going to be the third hacker or hacker-adjacent person that I have personally buried and done the decompiling and distribution for in less than 2 years. All three of them close friends of mine. I don't know if any of you guys know or remember from way back in the early DEF CON days, a guy named Fetal. Fetal was SoCal 714, actually LA 2600. Yeah, Fetal was involved in the SoCal Caravan for many years. He ran the pirate radio station for that, which also became DEF CON pirate radio station for a few years. And he and I had known each other through the con and various items since, we had known each other at DEF CON, actually in person at con, since my first DEF CON 8 back in 2000. But we had known each other on the old DC stuff list. God, that takes me back. Mailing list.
Showing your age, man.
Back in May, But we had known each other on the original DEF CON DC stuff mailing list since like DEF CON 1, right after the original DEF CON happened and they spun up the list. We'd known each other a very long time. And I lost Fetal May of last year, May of 2024, due to diabetes complications. Then a coworker of mine who, I'm sorry?
Continue.
No, carry on.
Okay. Another coworker of mine that I had brought out to DEF CON for his first DEF CON shortly before COVID happened, actually. It was like DEF CON 25 or 26. That was the year that we had to quiet down our line con because the Flamingo booked a wedding directly across from the SkyTalk space. That was certainly interesting. And he had come out for that, and we were planning to get him out again, and I lost him due to cancer. His handle was Radcon, and I lost him a year ago now, actually. And then we lose Delchi just before Thanksgiving here this year, and I'm kind of getting tired of losing my friends here and putting my friends into the ground. we got to take better care of ourselves, and I'm done and over with this for a bit. I say that with a smile in my voice here, but yeah, it's been a bit. The other thing
is like well, you keep going first. I'll piggyback.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm sitting here looking at this absolutely wonderful bottle of bourbon that Delchi had stashed away, a bottle of Old Weller Antique 107 that is going to stay stashed away for another year, another 9 months, and we're going to take it out to, we're going to break it out at the wake next year, and we're all going to share it together as one last drink with the big guy. And yeah, I'm at a loss for words here. I really am. This has been an event, and as I currently stand here at his apartment looking at the downtown Fremont Street skyline here, along with those of you who can see the video, I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him a lot. He did so much and meant so much to so many people. Those of us here on the podcast, those of us listening as it streams out here, and everyone's going to have a different story to tell. I still have a few stories to tell, and yeah, I think I've run out of words for a moment here, guys.
It's all right.
I was going to follow up by saying, yeah, we've lost too many friends in recent years, especially in our security hacker community. I was going to bring up that the memorial room at DEF CON, they're starting to talk about enriching it and making it more fulfilling for people that want to walk in there and just reminisce on some of the people we lost. I walked in there this year expecting to see something from Brad Smith, or AKA the nurse, if anybody knew him from the old school DEF CON days.
You were one of the first people that I directly lost here. I remember Brad very well. When I was living in Montana, he and I were almost neighbors. He was just a couple hours down the road from us.
Dude, that guy changed my life, man. I can't. Yeah, there's no way around it. He took me under his arm and basically changed my life. He turned me from a shy kid into a super social kid like overnight. So now I try to be that guy for people in his name. Basically, like, these shy kids come out of college. They don't know how to talk at conferences. They don't know how to talk to, like, famous people or whatever. And I just say, come with me. Hey, bro, what kind of dog you got? Or just some dumb question. Just start a conversation. People, that's kind of what Brad taught me. But this isn't about me. I'm trying to bring up we should start gathering stories for that memorial room. They're starting to increase the budget, and now they have an actual room now. But since the recent venue change, they're saying that a lot of the items that have been collected over the years are still sitting in storage, and they're still going through it all. So next year they should have a better collection of, spots on the table where you can walk around and look at stories, and they got a projector. You can throw your own videos and stuff on there if you want.
Well, there's a lot of people that are wanting to pull private archives together in groups, not just for DEF CON, but for year-round or organizational use. There's been reach-outs to friends and family of Delchi from the CDC for various memorabilia that he was known to have had at certain points, and I certainly have a stack for it here that's earmarked for them. And there's a lot of groups out there who have lost a lot of people. And this is not going to just end up being a DEF CON thing. This is going to end up being a year-round thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've lost too many people. It's so sad when you think that they're not going to be there next year. You're not going to see them ever again.
And yeah, you're not. You walk out of there. I remember the last time I saw Delchi, in fact. it was collapsing stuff down at the end of con this year for HDA. Okay, for your first actual Delchi story here, the end of HDA this year, we were needing to load stuff out, and as you know, wants their cut. They want their people to be schlepping stuff around, etc. And we're kind of like, no, we got this. But what we needed to do was we needed to have enough cart space to do it. So you guys know that Delchi had been not quite confined, but pretty much confined to a power wheelchair the past decade-ish or so, right? So he had both of it. The big chair, the hack he called Rolling Thunder, which I'm staring at across the apartment here right now. And he also had a backup spare chair there, and I played around with both chairs, etc. And I realized, hey, I've got the footrest here. We've got enough functional cargo capacity to move everything. Let's just load up the chairs and go. Delchi in one chair, me in the other, rolling down the main concourse there at the convention center to load out into the van of a buddy that was helping Delchi schlep stuff back and forth. And that's what we did. We just basically ran our own mini caravan down the concourse. And then after that, Delchi's like, yeah, I'm pretty much done. I'm a herding puppy. I'm heading home. And the last I saw of him was in his power chair running down the sidewalk on the west side of the convention center there, where that big parking lot is towards the Fontainebleau, and rolling to get back home here. And he actually he ran his power chair all the way north up surface streets here. That's about a mile and a half run from the convention center.
I yelled at him last time he did that. He almost fucking died. He had a heat stroke.
Oh, it wasn't quite as bad and hot last time, but he was also a hurting puppy when he got back here. He was a hurting puppy overall. And I didn't realize then that watching him roll off was going to be the last time I saw him.
Shit. You never know, man. That's why you always got to tell people how you feel.
Yeah, you do. And you also got to make certain that your shit's in order so that if you do end up having an event where you pretty much keel over and die with no notice, that the people coming in to clean up behind you have stuff that they can do. One of the reasons why I came out here, and I came out here just a shade under a week after he had passed, was because there were concerns about where his computer is going to be locked, where we're going to lose access to a lot of stuff, basically making a lot of problems. And I won't go into the various stories here, etc. I will say that in coming out here and working to stabilize the stuff, I came across a lot of lucky breaks. I came across more than my fair share of lucky breaks about being able to get into stuff, get access to stuff, and stabilize stuff. And I've got access to probably 99.9% of the stuff I need access to. I've got people in the friends and family network who are running a forensic analysis on the cell phone to try and pop that and get data off of there for me. And maybe even send it back to me unlocked. We'll have to see what happens on that. But I hit a lot of breaks here, and it could have gone sideways really quickly. Fair amount of lessons learned, etc. And as a result of this, and the other couple of hackers that I've come through and picked up the pieces of afterwards, I'm actually going to be pitching my first talk for DEF CON sometime this spring. I've even come up with a good name for it already. Delchi kicked the bucket, and all you're getting is this flipping slide deck.
What do you think of his bed? This is the coolest bed I've seen as an adult.
The pillow fort, the pillow fort was absolutely amazing. I have to admit, it brought a tear to my eye to end up having to decompile that and store it. And all it now is a few blankets and sheets, a stack of PVC pipe that's about half as tall as I am, and the mattress flipped up on one edge in the corner.
Were you able to find a home for Samantha?
That's a tough one to answer. But I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. We sent Samantha on to be with Delchi across the bridge. She was, something had happened a few years ago, and this is telling a story maybe a little bit about out of school here, but something had happened a few years ago that we can only classify as a neurologic incident where her entire personality had changed. And by the way, you guys are going to want to put a trigger warning in the show notes for people who are sensitive to animal issues on this. Her personality had changed. She was even more "don't touch me," standoffish than she was before, and even to the point where a lot of the time she wouldn't even let Delchi handle her. And I know that broke him up from just a couple of things that he said to me, but he said to other people as well. After he passed, she was pretty close to outright hostile to everyone coming into the apartment here. She wasn't immediately bothering them, but if you approached her, she was hissing and growling, and she was not happy. We were working on trying to get her rehomed, and had a couple of mobile vet techs in here to try and get her seen, get a health card on her so we could fly her to a potential new home in Indiana. And she bit one of the vet techs pretty hard and ended up going into quarantine for 10 days, which was a good thing. But we had her under observation, and she just wasn't settling out. She honestly wasn't settling out, and we suspect there was some dementia in there as well, and some potential other issues. And the consensus between the vet tech as well as myself and a couple of close friends who were asked to help and consult on the situation and were familiar with rehoming and finding animals safe places to go is that she was in distress, and that rehoming her would be tantamount to extending that distress. It's not a decision I wanted to make. I was trying to come up with any solution, and I had a couple of long shot possibilities in mind, but they would be basically making her an outdoor cat, and she never had been, and that would have been putting her at risk as well. So the very tough decision was made to send her across the Rainbow Bridge with Delchi, which we did, and that process completed here, I believe yesterday.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not. I never want to see an animal come to a situation like that. That's not. It's not good. It's honestly not good. But it was the best. It was the best, most peaceful solution that we could come up with that was not extending her distress anymore and putting other people at risk.
It's kind of poetic in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You did what had to be done, you know?
Yeah, it is. And I am taking what piece I can. And man, it sounds like I'm really running the waterworks this evening. But I'm taking what piece I can in knowing that we did our best by her, we did our best by Delchi, and I'm hoping that both of them are together again and happy and at peace. Because both of them had been hurting for a very long time.
Yeah. Safe to say, when shit hits the fan, it does not get distributed equally.
No, it does not. It absolutely does not.
It's sad. Does anybody have any stories about Delchi they wanted to share? Anything maybe a bit more lighthearted?
We're looking at you, handful of people that joined and aren't saying anything.
I got one or two at some point.
Go ahead.
I first met Delchi in 2016. A mutual friend of ours introduced us. I'd never been to Vegas before, but one of my favorite memories of all time is sitting in Dino's and singing karaoke with having a drink. And that's who I knew Delchi as, just that guy. And man, he was excellent. It wouldn't be till a few years later, not unlike Old Key. He and I talked back and forth over the years about doing some pretty crazy projects. And the one that is most notable in my mind is pirate radio station, taking little Raspberry Pis and dropping them to third world countries and giving them a way to communicate with each other and understand and try and teach eventually. And it was a wild concept, but it got me into radio and a number of other technologies that I didn't know existed at the time. I guess knew existed, but wasn't I didn't understand that. I learned a lot from that time in my life. A few years after that
click moment.
Yeah, right. A few years after that, I was fortunate enough to work with him. I helped him land a gig at the place that I was working as one of my senior engineers as I was coming into my security profession. And
hey, now no age shaming here. Come on, we all know Delchi was the old guy.
Oh no!
Hey!
Comparatively,
I wore this one just for him. If you can
comparatively, I am significantly younger, but he was my senior because I was a junior, not because he was old.
Yeah, fair enough. I have to in Delchi's name, I have to give people a ration of shit.
Sure, and that's fine, please.
But hey, speaking of age, old hackers never die.
They just become.
They just get archived to tape.
That's it.
Upload to the VX.
You just get zipped.
Definitely. Anyway, a few years later, I was fortunate enough to work with him for a year and a half or so as my senior, as I was coming up through my security career, and I attribute a lot of my capability and skill sets to the things that he taught me, and I would definitely not be where I'm at today if it weren't for him. So, to you, my friend.
Here.
Fire walk with him, I believe is what he used to say.
Yeah, well, that was the name of one of the music broadcasts he did on internet radio. Fire Walk with Me. I have many memories of listening to that show. I think there may be one or two people who also listened to that show here on the podcast.
I certainly was one that listened. I even got to be in an ad for it at one point.
Oh,
really?
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've known Del since he was in 10th grade. He was my first boyfriend, and I'm going to give you all a picture that will make you laugh. We went off to a high school dance, and they put on the Talking Heads' Stop Making Sense, which was the first date we had. We went to see that movie. And when that came on, he started doing the Russian Cossack squat kicks around the dance floor. And an entire room full of people who previously paid absolutely zero attention to who either of the two of us were, because we were not the popular kids in high school, were suddenly ringed around the two of us as we were dancing to that.
That's great.
Sorry. And he, to this, till probably maybe 4 days before he passed, he would still talk about the dance that we went to. And it's just lovely to picture him back in the era when he was fully free and able to do all that he wanted, and still just as out there as he was even when he was in a wheelchair.
I can see that in my mind's eye perfectly right now. Delchi circa DEFCON 8, so 25 years ago doing something like that. Yeah, honestly, I can also picture him circa DEFCON 33 a few months ago doing something like that, just wheeling around in his power chair, kicking his legs up as high as he could.
Yeah.
Just for the laughs. Just for the laughs. So we talked about internet radio. That was actually kind of the way that I met him as well. I won't ask for a show of hands here, but I know that some of you have probably listened to Emmanuel Goldstein's radio show on WBAI out in New York City, Off the Hook. Mm-hmm. And some of you may know that's actually one of the earliest hacker-ish programs on internet radio, circa going back to even before the turn of the century here.
That's the first one I can think of.
Yeah, I helped stream Off the Hook back when Off the Hook was the only thing streaming from WBAI. This is before they were actually doing much in the way of internet streaming. And basically an ad hoc cadre of hackers pulled together and fired up real media streamers and actually streamed the show every week. And I was one of them, working at a little ISP in northern Colorado at the time. Had two T1s channel bonded. I thought I was hot shit at the time.
Back then,
it was hot shit at the time.
Yeah, back then it really was. We had about 36 modems that didn't really make it above 28.8 due to the phone lines in the area. But back then, that was also still pretty hot shit. And I used our spare bandwidth to stream Off the Hook every week. And I met Delchi on the 2600 IRC channels at the time. In fact, a little later, after I was no longer working at that ISP, I did a web project for 2600, and I ended up being their webmaster back when being a webmaster was actually a big thing for about 6 to 9 months. I'm still trying to live that down, by the way.
You got to put it on your resume.
Yeah. I bury on my resume somewhere in page 4. But that's how I met him, and we stayed in contact over the years. Saw each other at DEF CON every year, and I had some problems when I originally came into my own as a hacker with various communities. And Delchi was one of the few people who publicly stood beside me, rain or shine, for better or for worse.
Yeah, he was like that, man. Like, if you were his friend, even if you were in the wrong, I mean, he'd tell you privately you're fucking up, but he would still have your back. He was.
He'd sometimes tell you publicly that you're fucking up, but yeah, he would have your back. Absolutely. And that's how I met him, and our friendship was mostly electronic with the occasional punctuation of in-person sightings. A few times when he lived in Colorado, whenever I could make the opportunity to see him out here in Vegas, and I admit to my eternal shame that I didn't make more of those opportunities when I damn well could have.
Yeah.
Yep. Hindsight is a bitch.
You know, I lived in Vegas for 2 years, and I regret not seeing him more often. You know, we hung out quite a bit, like maybe once every 2 weeks, but I really wish I had taken the time when I had it and been there more for him, because, you know, now I can't.
That is how it always seems to work, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I see that Big Heart all the time. The staff here at his apartment building absolutely loved him. There is a new bar and hookah lounge in the ground floor of the building here, the Foreign Exchange, that he helped them get the business off the ground. They say they sent a really nice flower arrangement for whoever was going to come by and clean up stuff, and I went down and thanked them for it. And it turns out that Delchi was actually doing internet hosting for them. It spun up a web domain and a small website for them, and I am taking that over. I'm also taking over the website and internet tech services for his attorney, as well as a barber and tattoo shop here in town that I've discovered. The best way I can honor my friend's memory is, I can take over his unfinished work and make certain the people that he cared about are still being served.
Yeah. He was one reliable guy who, like, a lot of people depended on, who you would just have no idea he was helping so many people all the time.
I'm coming across new stuff like that. Honestly, it seems like every day. It really does. But it seems like I'm also kind of manipulating the conversation here, partially because I'm sitting here in his space reminiscing for the last time, because in about 24 hours, it's all going to be gone. We've got probably about 2/3 of it packed. I'm still looking at the big electronics workbench in the center of the apartment here that still needs to be torn down. I've got boxes left, right, and center. I'm about ready to start breaking down the custom workstation that he had built that literally spans about a quarter of the apartment across all of the north wall and a good third of the east wall here that he worked at. I know a few of you have seen it. I'm getting ready to knock that down, and that will end up going to my off-grid property that I was always considering doing something like this in Colorado, and that'll get regenerated there with some of his stuff and projects, etc. And I'm going to carry stuff on and hopefully do at least a quarter of the awesomeness that he did.
I'm sure it would make him very happy to know that his stuff is going to you and that you're going to be using it and continuing to do projects.
And his work.
Something like this happened in our ham radio community in like a Tri-County where I'm at here in northern Georgia. And they basically took all of his electronics and started a ham radio club at the local middle school. So now a bunch of kids are using some of his gear. But the problem was some of his gear is worth like $25,000, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't want kids playing with that."
That's also some of the, $25,000 worth of ham radio gear. That's a pretty damn good setup. I speak from experience. For one radio, that's probably some kind of commercial salvage, because I've been a licensed ham radio operator for over 30 years now. And I've seen some of the rigs that are in some Silent Keys setups. The fact that you were able to take in a Silent Keys estate and basically drop it lock, stock, and barrel and generate a new club for kids at the local school district. That's awesome. That is the kind of start that I wish I had when I was getting into ham radio, and I would have been about that age.
I think I was 12? No, 8. Yeah, when I got my first license. My dad and grandpa did the off-grid ham radio stuff, so I was just exposed to building radios, antennas. My first grade science project was Morse code with a tailgate or a license plate, a little speaker, and a, tap, tap, tap.
Just an oscillator?
Say again?
I was
just
saying,
a code oscillator?
All right, you go first.
Yeah, no worries. And I heard Valerian there. If that's who I think it is, another good close friend of Delchi that I'm glad is able to make it here. My question was, you basically built a Morse code oscillator and used an old license plate as your code key?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because this was
been
back
there,
when you had
done
to know
that.
Morse code to get your license.
I fought to get my 5 words and then my 13 words so that I could get on HF, and then I swore I'd never use it again as a kid. And then I find it very ironic that one of my favorite operating modes, especially during contests, is CW.
Oh, yeah. I can see that. All I remember is dot it, oh.
Yeah, well, we'll have to chew the fat over that one over a beer at con or something like that.
That's right. I usually go to the ham radio village for a little while.
Last year, DEF CON 32 was I spent most of my time associated with the ham radio village there when I wasn't drinking this lovely bottle of rye whiskey that the Retro Tech Village had gifted me. Ham radio is also something important in my heart. But we have a new player here on the podcast here this evening. I think I heard that Valari is on. Is that who I think it is?
What's up, Valari?
Yo.
How you doing, man?
Yes, it
is. Don't mean to be coming to you from out in the middle of nowhere. It happens to be my dad's birthday, so we're trying to take him out for some food. But wanted to at least step in and say hello and thanks to everybody who's been part of all this.
Thanks for taking some time to jump in.
Well, thanks for stopping by, and tell your dad happy birthday.
Yeah. Valari has been in the back line of a lot of the stuff, decompiling and dealing with the end of life matters, and has been absolutely wonderful to work with. I know that this has hit him as hard as it's hit the rest of us, and if he didn't have prior commitments here, I know he'd probably be sticking around to share a story or 3 as well.
Well, you wouldn't believe some of this stuff I could tell you. We go back to 92, so there was an incident on the MBTA Red Line in Boston that I really shouldn't repeat in polite company, but...
this isn't polite company. Is your attorney going to let you talk about it?
Limitations is over. It's fine.
We can switch over to Bob and Alice.
Yeah, there we go.
Back to you, Bob.
Bob did X, Alice did Y. There you go. Good enough.
Yeah, but what did Mallory do?
The witness.
Silence.
Well, yeah, silence.
I just don't
okay, so I've said a couple of things about what I want to do to carry forward Delchi's legacy going forward. I can't be the only one who wants to carry forward that legacy, though. What about the rest of you? What do you want to do to honor our friend, honor his memory, and carry his work forward?
I want to complete one of those stupid crackhead energy projects me and him used to talk about that we never intended on finishing. Specifically, Chester the Network Molester.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen some of the people at the hacker conferences? I think most of those people qualify as Chester.
Yeah, but the idea was it was basically going to be a van that had a wheelchair lift for him so that he'd always be riding side saddle, and we were going to basically get it off Gov Deals and get like the most fed looking van possible. Like we wanted like a forensics van or some shit, and we were gonna pack it to the gills with just equipment, and then drive from conference to conference and never have to worry about a hotel room. It was gonna be great.
This is how movies start or end.
So now I have to make Chester. In honor of Delchi.
We got to keep.
There were a
Yeah,
couple
I was going to say something along the same veins of this comment. What we can do is keep going, and whoever is actually doing the work that he was doing and keeping that, the rest of us not in that position, we can just throw our support behind whoever takes that position.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of work happening here. You bring up the idea of Chester, and one of the things
I bring
that
up a funny story, but you're the one doing the real work, the actual stuff he really cared about. Like, I'm remembering him in a way that was more just ideas we came up with when we were a few drinks in at a conference. You're doing the stuff that really propelled his life forward and gave him purpose. Thank you.
I'm kind of hoping to work with Matt, the printer of the trade paperbacks for Noidutu, to help him keep moving what we can forward with that and bring some of his writings that exist and are beautiful, but I'm not sure he ever really shared with a lot of people, that meant a lot to the various people who read them.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I just started scratching the surface on ingesting various quote unquote what are literally labeled here as archive hard drives, and I've already got somewhere around 8 terabytes worth of data that I've duplicated onto an ad hoc NAS that I built here. And I still have a couple of boxes worth of hard drives. His primary Synology here, his primary compute workstation, and what are quite literally thousands of either burned or purchased CDs and DVDs here. I was expecting to find like terabytes worth of ripped music on the hard drives, and I've certainly found probably a terabyte plus. But I am literally looking at thousands of CDs here in various folders, large Rubbermaid storage tins, tubs of CD books. I could probably spend the better part of an entire year just ripping those, putting context to some of them, because some of them are just compilation burn CDs. So I'd have to go through and run something like Music Brains or similar across it to get an idea of what those CDs potentially are. I could be doing that for a pretty long time, and I want to do it. I don't have the time, so other people are going to be picking up that work. Delchi, I'd laugh at this one, but I think he was the one who originally told it to me too. He's dead, Jim. You get his tricorder. I've got his wares.
That sounds right up Delchi's
alley.
Street right there, alley. Yeah, forgot the saying there. I'm the king of mixed metaphors, though.
It's because you came from there.
It's a mouth.
Speaking of the Star Trek related stuff in Delchi, I found the most important gun in his collection here too. A near mint condition. I don't know where it came from, but original series Star Trek phaser prop.
Of course.
Nice. Did you see the button that says Jewish Space Laser that when you hit it made the LEDs go from the back of the apartment to the front?
Yep, got it.
Did you? So before you started pulling everything down, did you take pictures of everything before, like, just for posterity?
No, I didn't think to, and honestly, I think I'd rather keep it in memory. But I am sitting here at his workstation, and we still have the lights on that are on the HVAC stuff up above there, and I'm gonna have to find myself. But I've also got the green portal there at the door that's still going, and that's going to be one of the last things I take down.
We can see the green coil and the reflection of the window.
Dude, I remember when he put those LED lights up, he was using an ESP8266 to control them, and he was having an argument with the person on GitHub who wrote the library because they had forgotten to account for resistance when you were adding more LEDs than that guy had used. And he was saying essentially you need to change this value in the code, and the guy was giving him shit. He's like, how do you not know what resistance is? It's part of an electronic circuit. V equals IR. It's Ohm's law, you fucking retard.
Resisting the Delchi is futile.
Yeah.
The Delchi is futile.
We are Delchi of Borg.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
He
Give
was
him like
Locutus.
10 more years and he probably would have been. Have you seen his chair? It's incredible.
Dude, I remember one year I was helping him.
I have driven his chair around DEF CON.
Right.
And his
dude's incredible.
he banged the chair on the side of the exit from his door, and it broke some of the housing that was containing like one of the monitors and we were trying to fix it like on the fly with PVC and getting the damn thing back to operational status, and we fixed it. But man, I remember him just like he would refuse to just switch wheelchairs. He needed to actually get the damn thing working again because he didn't want people to not see him with two monitors on his wheelchair. He needed those monitors. It was great, and we got them.
Well, the last configuration I remember seeing a Rolling Thunder in while it was functional, and he had it torn down for a rebuild when I came into the apartment here last month. He had one, I want to say either 22 or 24-inch HD display on there, a big Bluetooth speaker like you'd use for small karaoke setups on top of that.
Did he have the astronaut on it?
No, he did not. Or at least I didn't see that. But he was also controlling all of that with a tablet that he was just running Wi-Fi to a Raspberry Pi on. And that Raspberry Pi did all the compute and automation for the entire platform.
Yeah, he was running Kismet on there also, and scraping all the Wi-Fi. That's pretty.
Actually, he had a Kali instance on there at some point, and the Kali people were very interested in what he was doing and how.
Yeah. Yeah, he was running on the Raspberry Pi's SD card, and he built some cool shit, man.
And I'm sitting here more interested in how he was powering the whole damn thing.
He had a what's it called? A Jackery.
Yeah.
12-volt one that was on a little tray that came out the bottom of it.
It's actually on the back. It's on the back of the back of the wheelchair. He's got a custom mount for it, and that Jackery box is still there.
Yeah, those are cool. I bought one of those because of him. Those are a solid piece of technology.
You could have just said it was a flux capacitor. Everybody would believe it.
Yeah.
Might as well be.
Yeah, well, you know, all that fun sort of stuff. Well,
we were pretty pissed one year at the end of DEF CON. I was doing the rounds of bringing the shit back to his house, and I got locked out of DEF CON because I apparently took too long, and I couldn't get back in to get the rest of our shit. And that company that they hired took it and wouldn't give it back. Like, we had a whole suitcase filled with AV gear, and they just stole that shit. And we could never get to it again. And he was really pissed. And one of his chargers for his Rolling Thunder was in there, and we had to go buy another charger for that fucking thing after that. It was not easy to get that model. Assholes.
Bastards.
But he forgave me. He knew I did my best. Oh, I missed that motherfucker.
Same.
So do I, but my aim is improving and I am reloading.
I've known him since he was on Iron Geek. We're both on Adrian's podcast many years ago, and that's where I first met him. And we realized we both grew up in New York, and we really hit it off. And when I moved to Vegas, I was thrilled that I got to go see him and hang out with him. And he's just such a good guy. And it just sucks so much ass that I'm never going to get to see him again.
The way he used to describe, like, he would be so passionate about something, and he would just describe it the most asinine way possible. Like, even going back and listening to some of the stuff that he did here on with us, like he would. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but he had the most left field way of describing a bad situation, and it always makes me laugh. Like, even when I was working with him, even when I was learning with him, man, I really can't think of one off the top of my head. I wish I.
It's like, how vulgar and obscene can he explain?
Yeah, it was always the most left field, most random, wild shit you could possibly fathom, even though you don't fathom like that. It was always the best. It was the best.
And it would always get a good laugh out of you.
Uh-huh. And he thought so abstractly. Like, he was able, like, when I was learning from him, he took, like, different types of music and different kinds of things. Like, he taught me how, like, networking works, like the basics of networking, how packets flow based on a song. And I can't find the song. I've been looking forever.
You check a SoundCloud?
I can't remember. I genuinely don't. This was damn near a decade ago.
He had commissioned a lot of songs. He had, before Suno was a thing, you know, he had paid people to sing songs he wrote, and then he put them up on his SoundCloud. And I think that might have been one of them, the one about the packets and the way that they flow.
I might have to go look for that. That would be a good place to look. But I had tended to reach out to him and ask, but time slips away, you know.
For some reason that sounds familiar. Is maybe on his SoundCloud or someplace else. Hit me up after the cast, and I'll see if I can track that down. It's not going to be immediate because I'm neck deep in decompiling the apartment, but I'll try and get to it before the new year.
My brother in Christ, what you're doing is infinitely more important than that, I promise. But I appreciate that. I'll hit you up later. But I appreciated how abstractly his mind worked. And not everybody understood that, and I found as I was working with him, that was a struggle that he had. But
the only thing that comes to mind is rolling HR complaint.
Yeah, that's about right. that is about right. Yes, that's.
But that man was a grieving HR concern, and that's one of the things I love.
Damn, was he good at it?
Mm-hmm.
He was fucking funny.
He was.
The shit that came out of that mouth you just would not expect.
Oh, yeah.
Until you knew him, and then you expect damn near everything.
Yeah, you expect the unexpected. It was just
like, at that point you just start like, if he says anything polite at that point, you're like, wait a minute, who are you and what have you done with Delchi?
You went 7 words without a fuck? What is wrong with you?
Exactly. At that point you start worrying he's sick.
Bro, are you okay? Do you blink twice if you're in danger?
What bills do they have you on?
And where can I get some?
Right.
Right.
But no, he was excellent. He was.
Yeah.
He was excellent.
I see Katie's in here. Katie, do you want to share anything? If not, that's okay.
I have to take my dog out, but I'll be back in a few minutes.
Sounds good. And
Snicker?
I know I kind of started off sad and maudlin here, but I have to admit, as I'm sitting here working through decompiling the workstation, etc., as I'm talking with you here, I'm smiling more and more. I really am.
I'm glad.
Because one of the things that he really did that I'm thankful for is he brought a lot of cool people into and around my life. And you guys are some of those people.
Likewise.
Oh,
In-
well, I'm flattered.
Never letting a good crisis go to waste. Another old mentor taught me. Hopefully, this brings a lot of us together.
You should totally turn your lights off for a second so we could see that skyline. That looks pretty cool.
Give me a sec here and I'll do just that. The skyline is actually pretty cool. And I can hear Delchi right now just coming up to me and going, "What the fuck did you do to my place, dude?" Because I have more lights on in here at one time than he had for the entire time that he lived here.
Oh, why the lights work?
I'm not counting LEDs.
Well, all the bulbs I have here are LED, but lights will come back on here in a second. People want to see the skyline. I can't say that I blame them. Yeah, one of the things I did as I'm working here is I got a whole bunch of floor lamps to plug into the wall to get me working light in here. And those of you who have come to this place and visited Delchi in his prime know that he didn't do light. There we are. That should give you a good view of the skyline here at this point.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You guys should have seen the view from the roof of that place with the pool up there. It was really cool.
Oh, I'm tempted to take my phone up there and actually give you guys a view of that. But what you're seeing here right now is a view. Oh, this is actually looking down on the street a little bit. Let me tilt it back up if I can. Okay. So this view is looking northwest towards Fremont Street.
Yep. Fremont Street is pretty cool place to hang.
Yeah. Okay, here we are. Picking up the camera a little bit here. So yeah, this is off of his balcony looking north towards Fremont Street.
That's cool.
You know, one time they tried to fine him because somebody's chair from a higher level blew down onto that balcony, and they made it seem like he had furniture of his own that he had put out there and forgot about. And he had to explain to them that he doesn't even have access to it himself, that he had like the whole thing closed off and he's in a wheelchair and can't even get out there. And eventually they gave up on the fine, but it was an interesting situation.
Now, if his chair blew off, that would be some impressive wins.
Hey man,
No kidding.
we're not in Kansas anymore, man.
Yeah, don't start Ruby shoes.
There you go.
I've actually been maybe not quite wins that high, but pretty close here in Vegas. This is the same year. This is the same year that Sky Talks is over at the Flamingo, so that would have been around DEF CON 25, 26, somewhere in there.
I think that was the year the elevators broke, but then again, that's every year.
Actually, the elevators didn't break in the Flamingo that year. We were too close
in.
in.
The 1 year they worked. Okay, my bad.
No, we just didn't need elevators for the most part. We had escalators. I do think we broke the escalators though.
Well, the tradition has to live somehow.
Yeah, the tradition has to live somehow. But anyway, that year was the year that the sandstorm canceled the Sky Talks pool party at the Flamingo, and caved in a couple of glass doors at the Flamingo. It was all sorts of a mess.
Yeah, it's not
Those
fun
dust
when all
storms
of
get
Vegas becomes
crazy.
the pool party.
I'm sorry, it sounded like there was a question in there.
Something about dust storms being crazy. I don't think it was a question, more just a statement.
Two statements were made at once. I didn't see a question.
And he's really going to be missed. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was going to say, so back to the early years, our high school had a computer lab in 1984. And he and I
Did
were
they
both
have
in...
computers back then?
Well, they were these big monstrous things. They didn't look like a computer, that's for sure. But he and I had been a part of the local Boy Scouts Explorer post that was based in IBM. And we might have one day gone in and run a few programs that took the computer lab out for a few days until they decided, you know what, we just have to unplug everything and start over because we can't figure out what's going on.
That didn't work.
Issue a halt and catch fire command.
I will admit to being basically a tag along on his coattails for that of, you go do this, I'll go do that. I certainly knew my way around some basic programming, but not enough to take out a system of computers in a school. But, again, nothing dangerous, just affected entire classrooms full of computers.
There was
vulnerability confirmed.
That, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, sometimes you just gotta show who owns what.
And sometimes
and who is the smartest motherfucker in the room.
And hence the idea of backups came to life.
I remember when I was in high school, well, junior high actually, at Kellenberg, they had a typing class where we had to pretty much we got a piece of paper and we needed to type what was on that into the computer and then print it out and get graded on it. And they had all the computers back then networked together in that one classroom, and the teacher had saved all these typing assignments in her home drive. And I figured out how to navigate to that. So I would just go and grab the typing assignment and then just print it out and chill for the rest of the class.
My friend did something like that. And I was blue collar. I didn't even see my first computer until I was in my teens. But we had a computer class in school, and one of my friends did that. And we all just thought it was magic. Like, how did you do that, dude? But I never thought back on it until my later days. Then I realized what he actually did.
Always doing shit you're not supposed to do.
It's like, oh yeah, he found an open share.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
That's right.
No logs, no crime, as it were.
Keep calm and wipe the logs.
There you go.
Keep calm and blame other kids.
That's it. That's better.
Keep calm and let everyone think you're too dumb to pull it off.
I remember when the teachers needed help with the teacher needed help with the website, and he gave me his login credentials to be able to edit code on the website.
Oh no.
That the school used. Yeah. Like I literally could have, if I were a bad kid, I could have gone in and changed grades and done all sorts of bad shit. But I was good.
I know this guy Bob who did some training for a pretty prolific firewall company, and he just happened to leave his desk, or the trainer left the podium thing for a minute, and Bob just kind of walked by and took a picture of his educational license key and maybe used that for a long time.
Nice.
It's great.
Well, it was educational for someone.
It was indeed educational for someone.
Well, it looks like Stacy's.
I think you said it was like an instructor key or something.
Thanks for sharing those stories with us, Stacy.
They were pretty.
You're
deep.
welcome.
Feel better.
Thanks.
And we should have another episode with more people who got some Delchi stories come on another time too. I feel we didn't do enough stories about him to do him justice. He deserves more.
I agree with that.
Well, I think we'll have a lot of hacker story time in the days and weeks to come here.
Good.
We'll see the ripple effect.
Oh yeah, that the death of Delchi will reverberate for many, many years to come, I'm sure. But he'll live forever, right?
As long as we remember him.
Yep. He'll never be gone.
Yeah, hackers die. That's what we're here for. But as long as we keep telling stories, and as long as we keep their accounts on idle on the IRC channels, they live forever.
Yep.
And as I've been working through the workstations and stuff here, people have noticed, hey, I'm seeing Delchi's account go active. What's going on? I'm like, yeah, sorry, that's me. I'm working on his workstation here. And that's honestly what I've been doing. I've been working on the workstation decompiling stuff. That is the term I've chosen to use in what I'm doing here. I'm decompiling basically his entire life.
Yep.
And as I said before the cast, I feel like I could probably speak for everybody, not just here, but in the big groups and in the community itself. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, it is a thankless task usually, but
yeah.
I will tell you, it is a difficult task. It really is. But someone needed to do it. I have the skills, I have the time, I have the availability, and apparently over the years I've engendered enough trust among other people that when the chips came down, people told the family, I'm the guy that you want in your corner when all this is going down. So I have to admit I'm more than a little bit flattered by that, and I'm certainly honored by it.
Doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, agreed. I just can't thank you so much for all of the work you've done to preserve and document all of this. It's just so important, and I have so many people to thank, both people on the ground like Blue and my friend Tim, and people who have provided a lot of emotional support, and hearing everyone's stories has been like beyond wonderful. My brother lived a very full digital and physical life, and I only knew a little bit about it. So it's been really wonderful in all of the sadness to hear all of these stories. And not everyone wants to share in a group setting, and I'm happy to share my email and my contact information for anyone who wants to reach out and have an individual conversation with me. It's also been really fun to learn how similar we were in our ways. I don't think I was quite the HR threat that he was, but like I think we had the same intellectual threat when we were in places and in workspaces, and that can be really difficult to navigate. It was one of the things we talked about a lot. And so I just really appreciate everyone coming forward and sharing stories. And I know there's a big thread on Signal, and I have been really trying to cope with a lot. And I'm sorry that I haven't been able to keep up with conversations and to keep up on the threads, but I will get through them. I really appreciate everything that people are sharing. So just thank you so much.
Please do not apologize for your morning. Feel your way through it. It's hard.
Take your time.
For you the most. But if there's anything that we can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. Obviously, you have a whole bunch of people behind you, and as I said, your brother was a legend, is a legend, will forever be a legend.
He was really such a great guy. I'm so sad I'm never going to get to see him again. Well, guys, I think that might be a good place to end this stream for today. What do you think?
I agree. I will share one more thing, which is that I was talking to a friend of his a couple days after he died, and he's like, I just talked to him a few days ago, and he was talking about wanting to like quit his job, and I was like, I know, but isn't this a little dramatic?
Not like this.
Not like I was like, which I think he would have appreciated. I have to have some comic relief in the darkness, but again, I'm happy to end this here tonight, but looking forward to connecting with people over the short and long term. So thanks so much for everything that you all are doing.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Take care.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. We'll have to do it again sometime, gang.
Yeah.
And hey, Blue, it's kind of a joke, but kind of semi-serious because I know it's fucked up, but Delchi would love it. You have access to his socials. If you fucked with people, he'd be laughing in his grave.
I have seriously thought about doing that, but it's a little bit too soon.
Yeah.
All right, drinking here for Delchi.
Cheers, Errol. Take care.
Take care, guys.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.